at approximately 1:55, officers were dispatched to Gulpan Court regarding a female who had been stabbed. At this time, that female has been pronounced deceased at the hospital. Her name and information is being withheld pending family notification. At this point in time, preliminary indications indicate that this is domestic violence related. So the victim and suspect appear to be known to one another. The facts are that during the investigation, we learned that earlier in the evening, approximately 4 hours earlier, CMPD received a 911 call from this location regarding a verbal dispute between two parties. Officers responded. They spoke with a female on scene. There was no male party present. Officers were told by the female that no crime had been committed. They offered her options per protocol on exactly what we could do for her in terms of eviction, things like that. But again, no crime was reported, options were given, and officers cleared the scene. 4 hours later, we received the call about the stabbing. What are your questions?
Had you all ever had any instances at this home before, prior to the one that you all had hours earlier?
Some time ago, and we can get you the exact date, there was a report of a breaking and entering at this house. It was later determined that the person involved lived at the house, so there was no crime committed, but officers were able to come out and mediate that dispute at that time.
Was that person the suspect involved in this?
At this time, I'm not going to get into who's who at this point. Obviously, we're still working through a very fresh and active investigation.
Domestic violence cases are just very tough calls whenever you have one. Can you talk about how tough that is, and just even on the officers, just dealing with something like this?
Sure. I mean, domestic violence cases can be extremely volatile, as we've seen numerous times. And as you've heard members of CMPD talk about before, the importance of having a good support system in place, having a plan in place, things like that. I think it's important also to establish that domestic violence related homicides are something that we've talked about for a long time, and certainly in this case we as we unravel this case and see kind of what went down, that we could look for things that probably would be consistent with past incidents of other situations.
Can you talk about the protocol in terms of domestic violence incidents and what kind of support then is offered, even though it sounds like the woman declined? What does that entail?
Well, per law, per state law and per our policies, there are very specific protocols in place. For example, visible signs of injury, victim assistance protocols, taking a victim down to the magistrate's office to get charges, our officers signing warrants on people. Again, we're very proactive in that regard, and absolutely consistent with that. As every case is different, if those checkpoints are hit, then we would certainly establish that. I'll take one more and then I've got to get back.
You all have the suspect in custody?
We do not at this time. We're obviously very engaged in that process. We absolutely have a person of interest that we are currently looking for, and would love to speak with that person regarding the incident tonight. All right, thank you so much.